the dignity is re-established, reaffirmed, re-earned, rediscovered. So my whole task in the villages for years and years on has been only to raise the consciousness of the people to the level where they will assume responsibilities, and I can share this much with you. There has been such a tremendous transformation of the consciousness in the people. Villages after villages, families after family, because the first lesson that I gave to all of them, you belong to a small tiny little hut and you are dipped in poverty. One thing that you can do is that start believing that this whole village of 300 families are not separate families, but they are the extended family of your own life. Bring them all together, groups after groups after group. I made them comfort together, meeting together and learn together and sit together and live. And thereby what happened? There was a wider family concept. And villages after villages went into that particular beautiful concept of one family. That's exactly what Harbin was talking about again and again. That maybe we have come to a state wherein we can't afford to be absolutely isolated, individualized, and only fan our greed and thereby see that only that is good, which is good only for me. So that barrier has to be broken. So vision that is really wanted at this point of time is this. The time has come for all of us to assess what has been the history of our whole world for the last 30, 40 years. The disasters in the leadership in every level of life has convinced us more than anything else is this, that there has been only one fault. You know what that fault is? The distance between the inner and the outer has only widened. That is the core issue in the whole world today. The distance between our inner world and the outer world has created a chasm, a huge gap. We have lost touch with our inner self. We have lost touch with our inner being. We are human beings. We are not human beings. We are humans. We have lost touch with our beings. We don't know we have a being at all. Because to know we have being, we need to have an inner journey. We need to just close our eyes and like a diver, dive into the ocean of our body, mind, and see what is there at all. If there are sensations in our body. We live in our body, we do not know our body. We live in our mind, we do not know the workings of our mind, that 95% of our mind is nothing but programmed robotical way of life, where we have hardly any chance. If I am really believing that I should take care of my anger, every time I say I don't want to be angry, I become angrier, more angry. Every time I say something in my mind that I don't want to do, I am suggesting to my mind, do it. It's nothing but words that can change the world. And that has to start from within. Our inner conversation is very important. Most of us are lending our ears to outer conversations as social beings. But my only humble prayer to each one of you is that if we are to collect anything from this beautiful conference that we are here, it's like another Kumbh Mela, I see, the confluence of 109 countries coming together, different cultures and different traditions, different faiths, different understanding, different concepts, but all of it has to merge. All of it has to melt. And what is that ultimate melting? That melting has to bring us to our inner essence, that deep down we all long for love. That deep down we all love for harmony, for peace, nothing more than that. That's the only thing that can satisfy. But that cannot come from our ego self. Ego is deceptive. Ego would never allow us to see the right as right. Ego will always divide and rule. Ego has to always be a control freak. Only the inner. Only there is something inside of us which we discover when at times we find time to just sit doing nothing. We are addictive doers. We can't stay for a minute without doing. We feel so helpless, restless. We just immediately flick the TV and see the TV screen without even seeing anything. But something has to go on. We have to do something or the other. But there is a life. There is a life. The enlightened holy ones, coming from every faith traditions of the world, irrespective. they have brought us a very specific word of wisdom. That when you look inside, you awake. When you look outside, you dream. My question is, how long are we to dream and daydream, thinking that we are achieving so much? So my humble prayer is this. Maybe the time has come for all of us to awake, to consciously awake to this basic fundamental fact of life, that we humans are born with a being. That's the reason we are human beings. Vis-a-vis all other species of life, if we are exclusive because we can be aware and conscious, while the others cannot be aware and conscious. Our brain has that one faculty by which it can self-introspect. We can look within ourselves and we can rediscover who we truly are. But all of it is not only an outward journey, it's an inward journey. One has to resolve today or tomorrow that happiness doesn't lie out there. It's not that we lost our happiness out on the streets or in some malls. We have not lost our happiness anywhere else other than our inner self. And one thing is very sure, if we have lost anything anywhere, we can find it only there and nowhere else. Isn't it? You'll agree? If I've lost something somewhere, I can go around the world, all the holy pilgrimages of the world, but I won't find it until such time I reach to that point where I lost it. I lost my happiness, peace, joy, harmony, everything that I longed for, not out there, though my only search and seeking has been out there. My whole life has been fixing the outside stuffs of life, not knowing that by fixing the outside, we never fix our life. Only the threshold goes farther and farther beyond our reach. And a time comes when possibly we grow in age, when our body doesn't support us anymore, to take that deeper journey within. So time is ripe. Time is ripe because all over the world there is a huge transmission of power, of energy. There is transition of consciousness globally, I'm seeing. And I don't believe that the world is going from bad to worse, and that is too much gloom. I don't believe it. I rather see more and more light of the dawn is dawning. It's how we look at it. All over you just search the Google, you'll see so much information, so much is going on all over the world, only to find out that inner core, that inner essence, that love. And mindfulness, each and every university in the United States, and all over Europe, you find all the medical schools, all the universities, they are into study of mindfulness. Why? Because they've understood that if we are not mindful, there's only one alternative: we'll be mindless. It's not worth a life to live mindlessly, because anger, let's say I was talking about anger presupposes that we have to have a complete clouded unconsciousness of our mind. Until the mind is completely unconscious, anger cannot emerge out of it. Anger can only be born in a space where there's complete unconscious. So first unconscious, first the cloud will cover your mind. You can't see through. That's the reason an angry person says so many things. Afterwards you say, you said this. You say, no, I never did said this. I can never say this, he said. It's true. Because at that point of time, there's a complete cloud that covers the mind. There's a complete unconsciousness that takes over that whole person. As a result, whatever he, she does, doesn't remember anymore. Culture of awakening to consciousness is through our daily, small, tiny, little practices of meditation and mindfulness. I often say that how beautiful it would be if you go to the shower and they do a mindful shower. It's beautiful, I'm telling you. Most people go, have their shower, come out without knowing they had a shower. Most people go, sit down on the table, have the whole food, not knowing they had a food. Because they have been taking ever since they were a small little child. They may be having a shower every day, so what? Mechanical. What is needed is attention, attention, and attention. I'll give you a small little story. A Zen master, a lady, nun, she was dying. In her 80s or 90s possibly. And in the Tibetan tradition, when someone leaves the body, they're surrounded by disciples all around. So disciples were chanting mantras and all that. And this lady was sitting and she was supposed to pass over consciously. That's their tradition because she was a master. Finally, once again, there is another tradition in the Buddhist is this. Before any master passes over, then there is one thing. The disciple will go close to the ear and ask, what's your parting message? So one disciple came close to the master and said, Master, what's your parting message? She was quiet for some times, and then she opened her mouth and she said, attention. This disciple wasn't very happy because he wanted a lecture like what I'm doing now, blah, blah, blah. So he wanted a blah, blah, blah. And she was quiet, sitting. And then after some times, he comes and says, Master, would you explain what you were saying by the word attention? There's a longer silence this time. And finally she opened her mouth and she said, attention. This disciple was kind of a little fumbling. And again after a few minutes, he came out. Can you just say something so that all can understand? There was a long silence. And she said, attention, and died. Attention, attention, attention. That's all we need in life. You can be a good leader, you need attention. Because the moment you have attention, the person who's standing in front of you is not a physical body. Emotion, intelligence, mental, emotional, and intellectual, sheets after sheets you'll see. And as a result, your response to that person would be completely different. But the moment you see the flesh body, your reaction would be from periphery to periphery, not from center to center. But we are established in our center, not periphery. Periphery is our body, that's not who we are. We don't work from our periphery. Your heart is not on the periphery. Which feels, which cries, which feels the agony, which feels the pain, the panic, all of it is inside. So the whole idea is this, that gradually we need to come back to our inner self. We just can't afford to, pass the days like mechanical robots. What we did yesterday, we do today, and we repeat it tomorrow. As a result, what is happening? One thing we are all missing in life. We are missing the present. We have been living in the past, and we have been living in the future. But rarely did we find the moments when suddenly you are stunned into silence. Something you see, and somehow the mind stops. You're not thinking anymore. Maybe we are thinking too much. Time for all of us is to think little less and find out the zones where our thoughts will gradually dissolve into silence. Because then the wisdom will come to us. The language of intuition comes when that silence follows, where the mind stills down and